Hi everyone who's joining us. We're just going to run through Zoom live streaming, and I was just telling these guys before, this is our second attempt because Zoom likes to mess with us a little bit, but I was just saying that if you want to live stream onto Facebook from Zoom, what you want to make sure is that the live stream setting is enabled on your premium account, because this is a premium feature. You need to make sure that that's what you've signed into to do your live stream, and that the settings on your Zoom account are enabled. So to do that, you just pop onto the Zoom website, sign in with the details, and just go through the settings and make sure that button's clicked to say, I agree to enabling live streaming on this premium account. So once you've done that, you want to also make sure that you've signed into Facebook on your computer before, so that your computer recognizes you as a Facebook user. And then what you want to do is start up your Zoom session. You can invite as many people as you want to live stream with you, but make sure everyone's there. And then the golden steps to getting on Facebook itself are as follows. These are some very rudimentary pictures. So what you would do is click the More button on the bottom sort of stream and make sure you've clicked the Live on Facebook tab when that comes up. There's also the option to go onto Workplace and to YouTube, but for these purposes, we're just looking at Facebook. What will then happen is it will take you to this page. So it will just pop up with a web browser. At the top, you'll see that it may give you the option to connect to Facebook, but because I've already connected to Facebook on this laptop before, it immediately knows that I'm there, this is me, and what's going on. You want to make sure you've got a good title for whatever this live stream is. I mean, obviously, Manchester Diocese Zoom meeting is fine, but if you're doing a prayer event or you're speaking about a specific issue, you may want to change it. And the same goes for the description, just to give a little bit more detail about what you're doing. And so you'll see down here, there are two sections. And so what you can do with live streamings, there are three places that you can live stream to. These are your own timeline, to a page, or a group. Now, to be able to live stream to a page, you need to be the host of that page. I'm not sure if the same goes for the group, but I imagine it's that you have to be a member of the group to be able to live stream to that group. So what happens is if you click share to your own timeline, you get to choose the sort of settings of who gets to see it. So you can get public and private, or to secure friends, and that will just stream straight onto your main newsfeed, and you should be good to go. Whereas if you click on share to your page or share to your group, you don't have those privacy options, because obviously it will just stream to anyone who's part of that group or anyone who's part of that page, if that makes sense. So in this instance, I've decided I'm going to share to a group. What that will do is change this second drop-down button to select which group. So at this point, you would click on this little tab and it will give you a whole list of different groups that I'm a part of that I could live stream to. So in this instance, again, I'm going to go with the Diocese of Manchester Joiners in Prayer. And so when that's all selected, all you need to do is press the big blue Go Live button. Now, I've not gone live, and this is as far as this presentation goes, but essentially what happens after you press this blue button is you'll get like a little loading screen. And after that little loading screen is complete, it will take you straight to Facebook, and you will see your live stream happening on whatever Facebook group or page you've decided to live stream to. Top tip is to immediately mute whatever that video comes up, because you'll be able to hear yourself back into your Zoom meeting. So as soon as that Facebook page comes up and you see that live box, a live stream box up that shows you on that video, you click the mute button. There's usually about a 5 to 10 second delay on the live stream. So what happens usually is as soon as you click this blue button and you see that buffering, you will go live from the moment that you press this blue button, and that buffering time is just the time delay that that you have on the stream, if that makes sense. So basically what I'm saying, as soon as you press this button, don't start picking your nose or, you know, saying nasty things about people, because it will pick it up immediately from the minute you press the go live button. So best thing to do is have everyone smiling, wait until you've got confirmation that it's gone through to Facebook and that you're streaming live, close it all down and just say, welcome everybody, and you should be good to go. A couple of things we've learned from going on to live stream on Facebook is if you stop showing your video, it just completely takes your square off the screen completely. So there's no, you know, if I were to turn my video off, it wouldn't say Manchester Diocese there anymore. It would just completely get rid of me. So if I've got someone knocking on the door or someone running past, and you don't want that showing to Facebook, you just turn your camera off and it looks nice and professional. You're also able to screen share in that scenario as well. That will pop up on Facebook Live. And I think the only thing you can't really do is obviously go into breakout rooms and start doing polls and stuff, but that's probably not going to be great content for Facebook anyway, so I'd advise against using those. But it's usually fairly pain-free. And just to stop it and to stop the Facebook Live, there will be a little button at the bottom that says stop live stream, and you'll see in the top left-hand corner of your Zoom meeting that the live stream thing that says you're now live streaming will disappear and that you will be back to normal, and you can sort of finish off like that. So hopefully that makes some kind of sense. Sorry for the rocky start. And yes, I'll pass over to James, who can chat a little bit more about moderating
the stream.
The stream.
Yeah, thanks very much, Lewis. No, I mean, it's funny, as I say, we're doing a Zoom call about live streaming, and you know, we're struggling within Zoom itself. I think that's a good sort of place to start when it comes to the fact that there always is going to be a bit of troubleshooting and back and forth when it comes to live streaming, and sometimes the impossible just happens, and it's a bit of an inevitable issue that, you know, we all have to deal with at some point. And the best we can do really is equip ourselves with how to approach these issues and fight around them. Hi Daniel, did you want to, I think just in the interest of time, did you want to, Lois, let Daniel speak now about the hybrid Zoom sessions, and then if that's suitable, and then I can jump in on moderating those Facebook calls. Yeah, I think that'd be nice. Yeah, allocation of time.
Yeah, hi Dan, sorry, we're just recording the session for the benefit of those who aren't here, so welcome. We've just been talking about live streaming to Facebook and had a very funny Zoom crash just as I was trying to sort that all out, so typical. But basically we were just wondering if we could pick your brain a bit about how you go about hosting a hybrid Zoom, and by hybrid we're obviously talking about having half a meeting joining via a computer and the other half just sat at a table, and how practical that would be and what the limitations are. And, you know, I think we've had the consensus of if you can avoid it, do avoid it. But yeah, I suppose you've got to do it, haven't you? Yeah.
I mean, a lot of this is guesswork. I've not really done any significant kind of hybrid meetings as such. I mean, you'll know probably better than me from having Daniel joining you via Zoom for the inductions, sort of what that experience was like. I imagine with one person on screen, it's probably not too bad, because they can kind of hold their own in the same sort of way as anybody else in the meeting, really. But I think the key thing is that, you know, the normal visual cues that you get during a meeting face to face, you just don't get on the screen. So it's being aware that that you're not going to get that from the people on the sort of online joining. To that end, I think the more people you have who are joining you online, the more necessary it is to have two chairs to your meeting. That you have somebody who is on the lookout for contributions from the online joiners, making sure that they're included, making sure that nothing's getting missed, and also that the chair within the meeting makes sure that there's no side conversations going on, no bits and pieces that might get missed as a result of of people not being in the room with others. And similarly, side meetings, they're disruptive within the meeting itself, within the physical meeting, but they're even more disruptive over the internet, because obviously it's fighting for microphone space as well. So it does make life difficult to hear at the other end. So that's something else. So really, it's just about managing the meeting from a chair's point of view, making sure that that people behave themselves really, and recognise that there are issues on either side that need to be recognised and helped out with. The other thing I think that's difficult is obviously how you are viewed in the room when you're online. So how you see the meeting room is going to be quite difficult, because we've done we did a team meeting a couple of weeks ago where there were 3 of us in meeting room, the training suite, big training suite in Church House, and everybody else was on Zoom. And we were tiny pinpoints. You've no real understanding, I don't think, as an online viewer, other than the voice that you're hearing, who is talking. So it's possible perhaps that that there's all sorts of clever camera facilities and kit you can get that will auto zoom into the speaker and things like that. But I think in a meeting like that, it's going to be pretty hit and miss, to be honest with you. Another piece of kit I've been looking at is it's called the Meeting Owl, which is a central circular pod, cameras all the way around it and microphones all the way around it, that sits in the middle of the table, and probably for, I don't know, up to half a dozen people sat around a table, I think that will probably work. On the screen, obviously, because it's got cameras all around it, flattens it out, so you just see 6 people across the screen. And that's probably going to be a bit more useful. So I'm toying with the idea of getting one of those just to see how that works. But you're talking £1,000 for something like that, so it's not something you can really just buy off spec, really. So yeah, it really is just a case of managing the meeting properly. I think that's going to be the thing, and if you can get 2 people to manage it, even better. It's very similar to where we've tackled the big events over Zoom, whereby you've got a face-to-face host and you've got a technical host. You need that sort of support, I think, in the background. So those have been my sort of watch outs for a hybrid meeting. And as you said, if you can avoid it, do so. Even if you do have to have a few people in a room, if you can get the majority out on one platform or the other, then I think you're going to get a better meeting. If you're starting to get into 50-50 territory, then I think it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, or at least if you're having people who I suppose are preferring to stay at home and do the Zoom, from the comforts of their own home, and you're having people who want to have that one-to-one, then just alternating between the two is probably a much more helpful option.
I think as well, it also depends on the meeting as well. If it's a properly collaborative meeting where you want a lot of feedback and a lot of interaction and a lot of views, then the hybrid is going to be very, very difficult again. But if, for example, let's say synod, where the majority of it is information giving with the odd vote here and there, then probably a hybrid is going to work okay, because it's not necessary to know who's speaking necessarily. You've got your front table, it's pretty clear who's going to be speaking off each of them. If we were to do synod, you'd probably put a video camera up at the front and have somebody manning it to zoom in on the right person who's speaking at that particular time. So that would make life a lot easier. So yeah, if there's not the interaction required, then it's probably less of an issue.
Jay, I was just going to ask, because you just remind me of something. James, you've hosted a few webinars now doing Zoom. Sorry to put you on the spot, but I imagine in some instances that would be quite useful if you were having, especially a meeting that is purely sort of information giving. That could be an alternative if anyone wanted to use it.
Yeah, definitely. I suppose from that approach, when it comes to things like webinars, I mean, there was the training session around diversity and inclusion, and that was an in-person session. And I suppose the culture when it comes to repurposing that content for people that aren't able to attend in person would typically be to record the session and make it available for them. So I suppose it is coming into the issues of whereby there's live direct feedback, and we're now used to this world of Zoom where people from across the world can contribute to conversations that are happening in a private room in church house. Things like polls, obviously we need to be conscious that a poll in person will have to be done digitally, because in order to include those outside, and so it can't just be a raise of hands or private questions internally or on a paper slip. It needs to be managed in both ways, and so definitely one to think through. And as you rightly said, Dan, having somebody help moderate it is extremely important. I am aware that platforms like Zoom and Microsoft Teams, they're both investing hugely into improving the hybrid streaming experience. I think Microsoft Teams have this insane like machine learning capability. So if there's several people in a room, it will zoom automatically to the person it sees moving the mouth and speaking. So there's huge investments in this sort of area, and developments are only going to improve over time. But I would 100% echo what Dan says, and I think having a balance between the two, if you can do it in person, try and get as many people in as possible, being respectful of the fact that some people can't make it in. Try and either say, well, the session will be recorded, and any comments feel free to because the thing is, video is huge because we like to see faces, but live chat has existed for 20 years on the internet, and often it doesn't have to be face. If we think about something like Synod, you could have a live chat and have people access that on their phone, and everyone can create, be a part of that conversation and engage in it, whether they are present at the Synod or they're in a virtual environment. Obviously, it's great that we can have our faces on here now, but managing those sort of scenarios is definitely going to be important when it comes to the future. And I would echo what Dan and you've said, Lois, in that a hybrid approach is sort of a last resort, maybe. Try to innovate around that, and do one or the other, and maybe a balance in between.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think this technology is only going to improve, and this time next year Zoom will be irrelevant and we'll be doing something differently. We'll have our, as you were saying, VR goggles and communicating like that. So but thank you, that's been really great, and thanks Dan for popping in and giving us your advice. It's been really, really helpful. So feel free to drop off when you want. I think James is going to just talk a bit more about Facebook Live and
definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I think the logical thing, sort of avenue to go down here, is Dan rightly said about how if you're running a live stream, have more than one person there to moderate. And it's interesting, I've had a couple of calls from people running live streams on a Sunday morning or Friday afternoon prayers or whatever, and they all have a similar issue, and that's moderation of chat. The beautiful thing is live streams can now be done from a phone. We had the ordination services a couple of weeks back, and they stuck an iPad at the back of the cathedral, and they streamed it, and it was brilliant. They had about 300 or 400 people watching. Now, the problem with that is the moderation, because if the person that set it up is the person doing the ordinations or is a part of the service, there might be sort of blank spots. So I thought I'd just quickly show you a couple of little hints and tips. These are very basic, and for the most part, people that have run live streams before will know of these sorts of tools on Facebook. But I thought I'd quickly just share my screen and show you where are we? The Creator Studio. So let me go back here, and I'll tell you what, I'll show you how to get there. So when you're running a live stream, obviously you've got a couple of ways in which you can sort of manage the chat, manage the stream itself. Let's say we're running a live stream on the Diocese of Manchester page. As Lois rightly said previously, you will see the live stream come up. Right idea to mute it, because you're going to get double feedback if you're the one running the stream. But you can watch the live stream and engage with that stream on your own system. Add comments, respond to people. that's fine, just as if you were running a Zoom call, and you can do that from an admin side. That's one way. However, there's a couple more tools in sort of the back end, so to speak, of the Facebook platform, that if you want to run a live stream the right way and sort of have a more of a systematic approach to it, this is how you get there. So we're going to use something called the Creator Studio, and that's a tool on Facebook that if you Google, the first result will be Creator Studio, and all the results after it will be forums of people being annoyed at how they move the Creator Studio button. Well, they move it every other week. So as of the 29th of July, this is the way that you can get to the Creator Studio in the fastest way possible. As I say, you can Google it, Google the words Creator Studio Facebook, and it will take you to your one, you know, as long as you're logged in. But I typically go on my profile, so I can go onto my page, hit more, go to videos, and then visit Creator Studio just at the top. That's the process that I use. You can go through the business suite. There's a couple of different ways that you can do it. I just typically find that easiest because when I think Creator Studio, I think video. So if you aren't aware of what the Creator Studio is, it's almost self-explanatory in the sense that everything that you operate creatively on Facebook, be that pictures, posts, videos, it's almost like a dashboard for the back end of all that. So you get a little bit of incitement into analytics, how people are engaging with your content. You can schedule posts in here, and we sort of touch on this when we're going to be doing had our basics of Facebook live stream. And there's tons of resources around how you can use Creator Studio online, so I'd be happy to relay those. But what we're going to do is look at, for live streaming down here, if we go to the Creative Tools tab, I hope you can see that. I'll zoom in a little bit, and then hit down, and then open up the live dashboard. So here we can see information around the live streams that we've been running as part of our page. So if you were to run a live stream through Facebook, this is where you get your information around it. You can get broadcast statistics, you can schedule for future live streams, and create engaging posts. It's quite interesting. I've not used this feature myself. However, you can get stream reports and actually test broadcast, which could be useful, for example, in the cathedral to test Wi-Fi strength and stability of the stream. Could be quite a nice idea, and obviously it's a way that you can frame it, etc. So these sorts of tools are available within this dashboard. And the top bar, you've got a couple of different things. Achievements, that's where you're going to sort of register different statistics, and if you've got a certain amount of people through on a live stream, play a game, create a video game, and create a page. This is just a way for Facebook to encourage live usage, because live is now a huge part of the Facebook ecosystem. Resource hub, so we all love a good FAQ, and Facebook's not short of them. They have tons of boot camps, of setup guides. Now, they're really pushing this Facebook game in because it's a big market for them. However, there are help centers and tons of resources to go to, as well as myself. So if you are ever struggling with live setups and the dashboard, feel free to shoot me a message. And then finally, we have tools and settings. So here we've got some interface controls if you'd like to view it in dark mode, just it's a little easier on the eye. But for the purpose of this, we're going to look at these two sections just briefly. Page settings and page roles. Now, that's looking at the settings of the page in which you manage. So we'll ignore page settings, but because you can access that by heading to your page and heading to settings on the left side. It's just a simple shortcut. If you go back to this window, page roles, now that's where things could come in a little bit more handy. And going back to what we were saying about having multiple users manage your live stream, if you're live streaming to a page, if you click page roles, here, this is accessible within the page as well. You can add additional users to your Facebook page, and they are able to obviously go in, moderate the chat, make changes as well. And there's a couple of different ways and sort of assignments to the roles. For the most part, editor and moderator would sort of be the main ones. You can obviously add custom roles and then admin. If you'd like to go more into role management and the different types of roles, I'd be happy to do that too. So if we just go back to Creator Studio, you then have the most important feature of this Dive dashboard, which is moderator dashboard. I'll go into this in just a second, but down here we also just have settings almost for this dashboard. That's a profanity filter, which comes in handy in all live streams, I'm sure. I know especially in our line of work, and so obviously we can add that and tweak that as we wish, and then we can ban certain keywords, which is again quite a valuable feature, I believe, when it comes to live streaming on Facebook. So we're going to go to the moderator dashboard, click that, and what this is now in the business suite. Thanks Facebook for making that nice and easy and seamless. And what you'll see is the latest stream that you've done, the last stream that you as a page have streamed, and you've got a full profile of all of the different comments and engagements on that post. Obviously, if you do manage other pages, you can always head up there and go into a different page or a different group and see the live streams that they've managed. But the beauty with this is you've got this can be open during a live stream, and you'll have the latest feed of comments come in. You're able to highlight over, you're able to mute people, mute for 15 minutes, mute for 30, ban from the stream, ban from the page. These sorts of things are possible whilst you're watching the stream on the page. But the reason why I like it in here is because often you don't catch it. And sometimes it's important to go back over your live stream and go, right, okay, this is good. We got some nice engagement. Oh, bit of profanity, or, this person's not, if you need to ban somebody from a page, which isn't an uncommon thing, I believe, as a church, we want to be inclusive and encourage people to engage, but those are the sorts of avenues that you can go in to do that. So on the whole, that's really the main way that you can sort of manage from that back end. I hope in that sort of created a bit of an answer in ways. I just clicked that then because I was curious to see where it took me, and it did take me to watch as opposed to the page. So obviously we can see the live stream, and it's a good area to share it from. Yeah, is that sound okay in terms of moderating? I think that the main takeaways from Facebook moderation is have somebody else there to assist in the process. That is absolutely vital, because you can't expect others to manage, whilst they're speaking. Imagine if you were all typing in the chat right now whilst I'm trying to speak, it'd be a bit of a nightmare to manage. So definitely try to do that and take full advantage of moderation tools, banned keywords, and have a little play around in Creator Studio. And as I say, we'll be touching on that in a Facebook for beginners sort of course. So yeah, we can have a deep dive into that in the future.
Brilliant.
Cool.
Thank you, James.
Yeah, thank you, James. I learnt a lot there. That was delving into the back of Facebook in a way I've not been before.
Creator Studio is fun. I mean, one thing that obviously this session, I remember last week I'd just come off a one-to-one Facebook session with another member of clergy, and obviously I told everybody in the group, and everyone was dead keen to know a couple of different features about Facebook. So depending on time, I'm more than happy to do that now. I know there aren't as many people in this call, and this is a recording, so we can save it for a future week. But I did have in my mind a couple of things to show you. So it's entirely up to you guys. We can leave it till next Thursday and maybe wait until we've got more people in, or for an actual Facebook workshop in which I'll be running. But yeah, there's tons. There's always tons. Facebook is just a monster.
So have we had a chat moderator on board for some of our live events?
For our diocesan ones?
Yeah.
Well, for the most part, it would be myself or Lois when it comes to the join us in prayer Zooms, because those are really the
4:30 if anyone wants to.
4:30 this afternoon. Those
So
are the main.
one of you takes on that role, and the other one's doing the technical side of things. And
I feel like on the grand scheme of things, we kind of want to transition away from that, don't we, Lois? And that's probably more going to be my role when it comes to moderation. And I suppose as a diocese, we haven't really live streamed that much, but I've been talking to Marcia at the cathedral, and they live stream incredibly often. They do it all the time. And so I suppose, you know, we do ask them to co-host as much as possible, and we can share that live stream. Marcia does have people that can help with that moderation. And I've volunteered my own efforts to do the same. So there are always people that are willing to do that. From the diocesan side, I suppose it would be me as much as possible. As long as I'm aware that a live stream's going on, I'd be more than happy to moderate anything that's related to the diocese. So just, you know, if that helps you, Karen, if you're ever running a live stream through a Facebook page, Facebook group, anything along those lines, and you're a bit worried, you want some moderation, you know, quite similar to this, let me know.
Thank you, because I find the whole thing utterly terrifying. And I've just about managed to post a few photographs on Facebook, but
I've been seeing them.
Really,
I've been seeing them.
That's my limit, really.
That's good. Rome wasn't built in a day. I love it. It's all a process. I think everyone was scared of it at some point, and it's good that you're attending these sessions, and you know, I'm here to help. Lois is here as well, and Dan, and everyone's here to jump in wherever you need it. So
if I press test broadcast, what happens and who sees it?
Should we do it on my system and show you?
Okay.
Cheers, Dan. Take it easy. Now this might be a bit of a where are we? Let me just get rid of these controls. Why is that not hiding? Right. Let's go to streamer home, and let's say test product. Now this might glitch out a little bit because I'm using my camera on Zoom, but we'll click it and we'll see what happens. Okay, so this is setting up a live stream through Facebook on a desktop right now. The one thing when it comes to live streaming, now I wasn't too sure if to touch on this in this session, but if you wanted to live stream, Karen, just by yourself, you know, some people did prayer walks, some people just like to do an easy prayer, you know, an easy live stream. Typically, you'll be using your phone, and so the interface is a bit different. Yeah. From
the Benefice account, when you know, I just kind of put my phone there and recorded streamed the service. But if I wanted to do anything more fancy and sophisticated through Zoom with screen sharing and stuff, I'd kind of like to give that a whirl with a test before I go live, just so if I stuff it up, I stuff it up.
Okay, I'm with you. I'm with you. As far as I'm aware, setting up a live stream as a test from Zoom would be quite difficult, only because of the way that Zoom launches itself into a live stream. However, you can test yourself to sort of see those, see how the live stream would run, get familiar with the tools and live streaming in general, which I can show you here. I don't know why I'm looking at this little camera here. So if we go to Live Producer down here, create a test broadcast before going live. Obviously, we are hosting on our page. Now, if we would have clicked live on our Facebook profile, we would have the option here to go live as an individual, as James on my Facebook profile, or alternatively, you could go live on a group or on a page or wherever you wish. Obviously, you could schedule it as well. So create a test broadcast. Test broadcasts are visible to page admins and editors. So if I click that and then hit next, probably going to glitch a little bit just because I am on my camera. Should be fine though. The one thing I just was going to say as well though was it's slightly different on your mobile. because it's a little bit easier because it's all integrated.
Right.
And so on your phone, if I wanted to go to, say, live stream, and I wanted to live stream to the diocesan page, it's really simple. At the top of your Facebook page, sorry, let me just adjust that. You have 3 options. Now, obviously, it's a bit faded here, but one of them says live.
Yeah.
If you were to click that, you then have a little section at the top that says 2. And under 2, you have your groups, and you can go live direct to a group, to the public, just to your friends or to individuals right there. So a good way to test a live stream, get familiar with holding the camera, and obviously watch the recording back, is you can do that and stream just to yourself. So that's an option as well if you're doing it from a phone. So right now we are streaming live. Obviously I'm not using streaming software. This probably goes a bit more into the technical side of live streaming.
Right, it says only me. Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Right, found it. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Sorry, a bit slow.
No, not at all. Well, this sort of stuff here with a stream key, and obviously URLs and key, this side of streaming is much more technical, and I wouldn't advise sort of deviling into this without some assistance with somebody more technical. I'll be running a session with Nabil, and we're hoping to land a date at some point on this sort of thing, which is again a bit more technical. But when it comes to, if you wanted to do it from a desktop computer, select video source, use camera. I am using this camera on Zoom right now, so it won't work, but that's how you do it. And it's as easy as that.
Can I ask a stupid question?
There's no such thing as a stupid question. Go on.
What is a stream key?
A stream key is the IP, and well, you're not going to know what IP is. It's the, well, if you think about what a key is, a key, every key is unique, and every key opens a different door. And the stream key is a unique identifier from one system to another. So this stream key links your Facebook stream to your door. Your door in this metaphor being your cameras and your technical setup in your church. So from a technical standpoint, whoever is setting up the live stream in your church will need this data to put into their streaming software, OBS, whatever it is, and then they will then able to stream directly to Facebook. What was one thing I was going to say? So as well, one quick thing that you said then about testing Zoom is what you could do. take this on board. Is, let's say I'm streaming on desktop. If you started a screen share, you could, in theory, show your Zoom call to just yourself as a test by screen sharing on Facebook. Does that make sense?
I think so.
So
that button that says start screen share there. Yeah, okay.
Trying to screen share, click if you're experiencing. Yeah, I think I'm just going to confuse you. It's probably going to be but
that's easily done.
Yeah, no, that, in other words, that there are options there. But yeah, on the whole, this is the main one you want to use a camera. Main thing with live is don't shy away from it. It is very easy to gloss over it and be a bit scared because it's live and it's instant. But it's very useful, and people like that sort of engagement. Same on Twitter. It's very easy to go live on the Twitter platform on your phone, and on Instagram. I know you've got the Insta set up. So it's
and I love that little laugh that means, and bless you, trying so hard, but it's really rubbish.
no, I've seen it. Any posts, I'm liking them. It's good.
I was just thinking when you were saying, is there any way to test going live on Facebook via Zoom? And I'm just wondering, would it be helpful to have
a burner page?
A burner page, so a Zoom test page. So if you put one up and you add me on Facebook. This goes to anyone who's watching this as well. My Facebook isn't particularly interesting, so I don't mind. But if I set up a burner page, then you guys can, you know, practice live streaming to that page as much as you like. And
Right.
no one's going to see it except perhaps me.
Okay.
I'm on Facebook.
Yeah, I think that would really help, because it would be good to practice it before you do anything even remotely associated with other people.
Yeah.
I like that. It's a really good idea. Yeah.
Right.
The other thing is, if it goes wrong, if you start, you know, live streaming to the Diocesan Facebook page or whatever, and something's not quite right, and you need to stop the live stream, just message James or myself, and we can immediately delete that video.
Okay.
Because in those like 30 seconds where you just had to restart it, no one will have watched it basically, and so you can just erase it and start again.
Never happened.
Never happened. No.
Yeah. One of the we had a question in our digital support group yesterday, I think it was. I was talking about live streams. And one of the biggest benefits of a live stream is that it's saved, and you can save it and store it online as a video. So I mean, you think about this is a live talk, like we're talking as a seminar, as a workshop on Zoom, but the beauty is we can repurpose this content. And so it's good to be conscious when you are live streaming of not only your audience in the present, but also your audience in the future. So when we stream on a Sunday morning, the vicar will say, you know, welcome everybody in person, and welcome to whoever's watching at home, or, you know, later this evening kind of thing. So the power in live streaming is brilliant, because it can be used as a video too. Just a little hint there, Facebook typically takes a little bit of time to buffer, but it's quite quick to post that video and make it accessible to everybody. YouTube takes quite a bit longer, depending on the length of the live stream, and sort of the content and the quality as well. So just a couple of things to be conscious of, that if you do live stream, that video typically will be available to others to rewatch. So obviously you can tinker with those settings, you can delete it. I think you actually change that when it comes to the stream setup. So I assume you'll be notified should you want to take that down.
Okay. Right.
Perfect. Well, I'm just aware of the time. I think we've probably, unless anyone's got any other questions, we've blasted through it.
Thank you.
Yes, we'll pop a...
As always.
Brilliant.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Really good session. Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah, I'll make this recording available to everyone.
Yeah.
And I'll set that burner page up and send you a link to it so you can join.
Oh, cheers. That'd be,
Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Cool.
Thank you.
So again next week, yeah. Oh, sorry.
I'm on leave next week.
Okay. Yeah, I think a couple of people are actually, aren't they?
August is generally quite
downtime,
but perhaps we can regroup after the summer and just fill in whatever's left to do. And,
okay.
Take Q&As.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Brilliant. All right. Cheers, gang. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.